Michael, so good to see you again. Thanks so much for joining me today.
It is awesome seeing you again, and you've got a bit of a ponytail going.
I do, I do. I've got my hair since that's almost 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we saw each other.
So yeah, we met 4 years ago. We launched Pillar. What has surprised you since embarking on that journey?
The speed of change. Things change so fast. Those 4 years, honestly, they feel like some 10, 15, 20 years ago. Because if you think of the change we've gone through in the space, every year is worth like a decade. So much happens. How many companies have gone up and gone down? In fact, the record one was, I think, last year around 2019, there was a company that basically that was set up, and all the news was via Twitter, and it went to market capitalization of hundreds of millions. And after about 3 weeks, it went bust. By the time the Google indexes caught up with it and indexed it, the company has started, peaked, and gone. That's how fast this space is.
That's wild. So
It is wide.
on your journey with Pillar, these 4 years, where do you feel like the wind's been to your back? There's so much change, the environment's changing, the technologies are innovating quickly. Where's the wind in your sails?
I mean, mm, the technology changes a lot. I mean, if you remember, our ideal was to create a personal data locker,
Right.
something where everyone can log their data. And we started, okay, let's create a wallet to facilitate that. And the more we engaged with the wallet and the privacy angle, it became very clear to us. Even if I create the most secure data locker right now, who will be my user? And there was a bit of naivety from us, and I suppose idealistic approach we had, as well as some members of our community as well, in creating this personal data locker. Then by then, in 4 years' time, the ecosystem would have the privacy aware Facebook, the privacy aware Google. Those things did not materialize. So some of the technical challenges
Mhm.
and the power of the incumbents. However, um, the space seems to have gone into more financing world in terms of people investing, getting returns, and the returns you get in the DeFi, decentralized finance market right now is staggering, 11%, 15% compared to what you would get from the banks. But there is a cost to it.
So,
It is not easy to understand.
but before showing up at Pillar, you had the opportunity to also be a leader in some legacy industries. So I'm curious, what are you finding as kind of unique challenges to being a leader of a blockchain organization?
The unique challenge as an organization is to create a product market fit. What I mean by that is to create a product that is able to create a sustainable revenue model. In the crypto space, there are certain niches that create viable revenue. There are certain niches that have a lot of talk about them, but they do not generate revenue. And there are areas where there is heavy competition. You have the level of service required of you, but the price you can charge is very limited. So almost worse than a commoditized market where basically if we don't watch it, it could be a race to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, on the other side, there is a huge area where people are being engaged in terms of getting revenues. And the decentralized nature is the key driver in this, meaning no human being is involved. It is all automated. The markets are automated. So when you see the manipulation that happened with Robinhood and I think GMC,
Yeah, GameStop.
yeah, um, in general with the crypto, the DeFi markets, because they're automated, no human interaction is in there, you can avoid those. However, there is a maturity issue both with the technology, with the practitioners, in that the ecosystem sometimes is prone to being hacked. It's not banking standard um, infrastructure that we have in the space.
So it's an interesting conundrum talking about the product market fit when a lot of the market isn't totally aware or onboarded into this blockchain ecosystem. So I'm curious what ideas or projects you're aware of that are helping bring new folks into the space.
I mean, there are some I was speaking to. I mean, right now, it seems, even from a personal point of view, I've had a few friends get in touch with me saying, I know you're into crypto. I've heard about this Bitcoin and it's reached $40,000. Can you just help me? Just let me, how do I put someone into it? So the investment aspect has attracted the average person. When you hear about it,
Yeah.
Bitcoin 3-4 months ago was less than 10K. Now it is 50 something K. So as an average person, I would think, hang on a minute, I could have just more than doubled, tripled, quadrupled my money. So that aspect of it has been attracting people. In general, the decentralized finance aspect of it. And an exchange was telling me that they're onboarding people in their 70s, even recently, yesterday. And he said to me, up to $20,000 or pounds worth was being exchanged, and they were hand-holding them on how this thing works. So, and the bigger companies adapting, like the Teslas, etc., and PayPal making Bitcoin available, has alerted the average person. Yes, we laughed at it a few days, 2 years ago, but it's come back again. And other projects and the NFT, non-fungible tokens, and arts, they've been getting quite a lot of attraction in the last 2-3 months. And one project, in fact, we've been working on this thing for 6 months, is which we're rebranding as today. It's a meme, an ability to be able to effectively sell shares of memes. We call it shards. So imagine you've got an art and you've just driven some nice art, and if people are interested in it, you put it into this basically via blockchain. In this case, we used what we call a sidechain, which is XDAI, so that when you transact any blockchain transactions, or transactions is the wrong way of saying it, but when you make transactions, you do have to pay gas price. So when you go to side chains, this is a way of you avoiding to pay gas prices. Basically, side chains are little side rooms of a big meeting room. Let's assume you've got a big hall, and that's the public gallery. If that was the blockchain, you've got little side rooms for breaking out areas. That is the side chain, and the side chains are used basically for microtransactions. So we've created this mechanism where artists from the global south can actually showcase their work and engage the global community by displaying one of their arts, and they can divide it into 1,000 chunks, and people can just buy one little chunk, another little chunk. So the whole point of this NFT world is, yeah, I've got a bit of Mona Lisa, because Mona Lisa, one person owns it and it's worth millions. Whereas with this one, even if it was worth millions, if I can divide it into 10,000 chunks, 1,000 chunks, it becomes affordable and also becomes liquid. So that is one aspect we've kind of seen, and we have started trying to engage the artists from the global south, just as an example.
And how do you connect with these artists in the global south? Like I mean, I imagine there's technology, there's the digital divide, there's infrastructure that they might be lacking. How do you help arm these folks with the tools and the knowledge needed to participate in this?
This was the challenge right there. When we started this project, this specific one, the meme side of the project, we have been engaging with the Dank community. Dank community are a Facebook community, a global community of 20,000 strong who create memes. And we thought, and we did a little bit of a survey in that community, and the feedback we got was they said, I wish I can monetize what I do. And there are, if you look at them in the existing world, there are companies for freelance photographers where they take their pictures and load it up in this website, and this website has on its books other companies that want to advertise,
Hmm.
and they say, okay, I want this picture, and this picture. And those artists then get paid for the advertising campaign of these other companies. And on the same token, memes seem to be the rage. Why not monetize the creativity of these people?
Yeah.
That's why we approached the Dank community. And as you said, the biggest stumbling point was the blockchain world, which we call Web3. It is unfriendly, it is complicated, it needs technical understanding and dedication to understand it. So that is a big barrier to adoption.
Right.
So what we did was then we engaged with a Web3 based arts community that they were called meme tokens. So while we were engaging with them and we created mm, the platform, then in this period, 6, 7 months time, while we were getting the platform ready, then the meme and NFTs became a big thing. Now the Dan guys, they got more interest. Now they want to learn a little bit on how to use the blockchain world, and we have gone a little bit in making it easier for them to use. So you do not need to create a wallet. You can log in with your Facebook account. You can log in with your Google account. Those kind of things we have created.
Whoa. Okay.
So if you go to memeswap.pillarproject.io, which it will have a different URL, it would have tiller.io in the coming few days. You can log in with where it says stores with your social media login. That would obviously still create in the background some wallets, etc., for you. And when you log in, you can actually use your credit card to put a little bit of credit in terms of creating your your image and be able to divide it up and make it available for sale effectively.
I imagine that this creates a much more user-friendly environment for all of our friends, our families who are not familiar with MetaMask and Ethereum and Coinbase.
Funny you say that. Just last week, I was engaging with a lady that curates art in one of the global south countries, and she's got a list of artists in her book. And her aim is to showcase the artists. I think that they were based in Ethiopia to the global market. And when I was taking her through the system, she was really getting frustrated with this MetaMask crypto. And she was saying to me, look, I really want to help these guys, but this I don't get this crypto thing.
Yeah.
And based on feedbacks like that, we immediately created the social media login. We created a help section. Again, we would be looking for more feedback from the user to make it as bridgeable as possible. But the idea is to use the blockchain underneath. It is just when you go and make a credit card payment, especially in the UK, for instance, there is this thing called contactless payment where I can go to a shop, buy things, just swipe and walk away.
Uh-huh.
Can you think of the complexity in doing that? The technology on one side, the banking complexity. When that card is being swiped, who takes the first payment? Is it the credit card company, or is it the merchant company? Is it the merchant bank, my bank? Who takes what cut? There are about 9 layers, but the beautiful thing that they've done is they've abstracted all that away. And as a user, I just scan, swipe, take my goods and go away.
Right.
It's none of my business who takes what, how they qualify. That's why blockchain has to adapt that sort of mentality.
It's amazing to hear how far it's come from when I first stepped in the space in 2017 to what is now being made possible by you all. That is awesome to hear.
It is by using open source projects. Say this is enabled by a project called Taurus, which allows you that. So integrating them um, to be able to use them. Basically, with this project, you can integrate them, and what happens is they create a wallet in the background, and we create a wallet in the background for you as well, so that you can own those NFTs or arts you have created and sell them, etc. And ultimately, you want to be able to take it back out as well, because to my recollection, still not a lot of shops take crypto, or my rent doesn't get paid in crypto. So I still have to be able to take it back out.
Right, right. Well, we got some exciting news this last week with PayPal rolling out crypto payments for a lot of their point of sale systems. So hopefully soon we'll be able to buy our coffees with crypto.
A question for you though. Would you use your Bitcoin right now to pay for coffee?
Hell no.
That's exactly my point. Because anything I expect the value to go up, I'm not touching. Anything I expect the value not to go up, I use. So really, that's when they say to you, Bitcoin is a digital gold. Kind of, I've got a gold nugget, and if I think the dollar is going to go down, I'm keeping my gold nugget.
But as someone who has some real estate, I'd prefer if my tenants paid me in crypto.
Yeah, they're not going to do that, would they? They prefer to keep their money, because think about it. Within a week's time, Bitcoin went from 40K to almost 60K. Prior to that, 2 months earlier, you would have been more than happy to sell one Bitcoin for 10 grand. Why would I want to pay my rent in Bitcoin then?
Right.
But there are these things called stable coins, which one of the things I do, even as managing our company's treasury, is when I think, say, for instance, if you have Bitcoin and it's gone a certain level, because we've seen it go down as well. So when I think maybe it might go down, so on balance, if we lock in the gain now for this amount of Bitcoin, not the whole treasury, for this amount, it would secure our future for X amount of time. So what the stable coins are, say if you take USDC, it is pegged to the dollar USD. So I look in some of the gains and convert the Bitcoin to USDC. So what that means is, even if Bitcoin goes down, I'm protected. If it goes up, I lose the appreciation. But at least I have locked it in. So if I have something like USDC, then I would like to be able to pay that whether I'm in Singapore or the USA or Canada. I just want to be able to use that USDC. So now that becomes handy. That becomes very handy. And I assume the PayPals, etc., allow those stable coins.
Yeah.
Now with that, imagine if you haven't got any credit card, but you do have some crypto exposure because you registered your art and you sold it and you've got a bit of cash, then you can actually buy things using PayPal and online e-commerce things without having the credit card.
Right. So up until this point, we've talked a lot about some of the financial tools and innovations and possibilities being unrolled. But I'm curious, as someone with a big heart who's got deep ties to the global South, how do you think that blockchain companies, tools, or leaders like yourself can support some of the social sector, social issues that our friends, our global citizens in the global South face? And whether that's through charitable giving or aid relief.
I mean, this is pretty much similar to any other industry when you're talking about charitable activities. But a slight difference to that I would take is projects that actually are enablers for people in parts of the world where information is more controlled by central authorities.
Mhm.
Um, say you can think of any hotspots in the globe at the moment. And one example is a project called Mysterium. What they do is they create a VPN, virtual private network. So a mechanism where basically you can anonymize your internet connection and your identity when you surf the internet. So if you are in a place where uh, censorship is prevalent, it would protect you. Now, what these guys do is through the usage of blockchain, basically any old laptop can become a proxy. So the if you are on the chain, basically on the network that Mysterium use, you've become a node that can be used as a proxy.
Okay.
So what that means is, in general, they look at this thing called firewall. Okay, list of proxy stuff, this IP address, this address, this address, let's shut them all down. But if any old machine can be a proxy node, it makes it that much harder. In fact, I have given just fractions of crypto to some people I know in certain parts of the world to use this app. I told them about this app, sent them some crypto because they take payments in crypto for them to use the VPN. So now that is for censorship resistance and where people are being censored. It could be for their political views, it could be for various reasons around the world.
Are you aware of any place where, let's say, I wanted to farm out some work, I wanted to use a vendor from a specific country for partly, charitable purposes? Let's say I need some graphic design work, and I'd prefer if the graphic designer was from Yemen, so that I could support them in the struggles they're going through. Is there some way to facilitate that, to find folks now that we've got the tools to begin paying people internationally in seconds?
I see what you mean. Whether I have not seen if that's what you are referring to, a job board that
Yeah.
facilitates that. But as a company dealing with people around the globe, I've dealt with quite a lot of people that did bits of work for us who we couldn't pay in any other way but via crypto.
Right.
Now that imagine someone does work for you from Pakistan. And Pakistan is on the list around the world, quite possibly not to have banking and permissions to get paid to. However, you've done a due diligence on this individual who actually did the work for you. So you can pay them in crypto. So in general, when I say in crypto, I would prefer to pay them in stable coins like USDC,
Right.
because I don't want to pay in gold nuggets.
Right. Well, thank you for shining the light on that. Just two more questions before I let you get on with your evening. What's the next frontier for Pillar? Where are you driving the organization to next?
We are having basically three product lines at the moment. One of the major one we are putting our resources on is what is called layer 2 side chains. So what I mean by that is, I don't know how much you guys have discussed about gas prices in the course yet.
Yeah. Just
okay. Basically, if I send Dan some money through the blockchain, I have to pay a fraction for processing it. And that processing fee gets more expensive at times. And when a sudden surge in crypto prices, in this case, when Ethereum goes high, and there are a lot of people that want to use it, the processing fee gets a lot more expensive. And there is this technology where it's called layer two, basically, where you take the transaction out of the main blockchain and put it either in a, in a place where it is halfway between a separate side chain versus somewhere in between, which does not require you to pay the processing fee. If a processing fee has to be paid, it would be negligent amount. So what we have done is we've created an infrastructure to enable that for various projects. So this is not a consumer facing product. This is a business to business offer. But we are trying to facilitate that because right now the gas price is a big issue in the Ethereum space. It is a nightmare right now.
Yeah.
As much as projects can give you 17% return in the decentralized finance world, then they might cost you quite a bit in the processing fee, the gas price.
Right.
So in trying to mitigate this, attracting the average person, if we can create and facilitate the usage of this layer two and side chains without the fanfare of you knowing the ins and outs, like as I said to you, like the contactless, that's why what we are trying to go into. And if we manage to facilitate that, then we will be making a big difference in the whole space. And an infrastructure created by us will be used around in many projects underneath. That is one big play. And the other one is obviously we have a wallet, so we still cater. But again, by using our wallet to be automatically deployed on these gas feeless platforms like side chains. For the side chains, you can look at them as micro payments, basically the checking account, and the main blockchain, the mainnet, like the Ethereum mainnet, as your savings account. So you make your savings on the Ethereum blockchain, and when you do little transactions, you can go to the side chain or the layer two. So this is a trade-off. They have got a lot more speed, they are a lot more cheaper, they're less secure in comparison to the mainnet. So
Right.
all your assets are stored on the main. The $100, $200 you put in the checking account where you can just, again, the same analogy you can draw with the contactless. My contactless, someone can actually come and have a contactless reader while I'm standing, walk past me and charge my card. It actually works that way. And it's got a maximum spending limit of maybe £40. So someone can actually steal £40 like that by using a reader. And again, it is ease of use versus the risk. And that's why you do not put everything you have in your bank account on the contactless.
Right.
So, and the Global South, the art platform I have talked about, that is something we've been working on and we've been trying to engage the artists community. So if any one of you guys are interested in that or have connections with the arts world, please reach out to me via Dan. And I would love to engage with people on that side because this would be useful in bringing people and their skill set to the world market and monetize it.
Awesome. Sounds like you guys have been ebbing and flowing and pivoting in some really powerful ways to bring some really important services to the world. So before I let you go, any calls to action or last words to folks who are entering the space?
Don't rush. Don't put any money into it that you can't afford to lose. There is, if something looks too good, maybe it is too good. So do not lose your money. It's a complicated world. Just don't rush to just put in everything. Oh, everyone's putting money and look, Bitcoin is going to 50K. Maybe it would go to 200K. Maybe it would go down and you can come back in. So don't rush.
Excellent. Wise words from a wise man. Michael, thank you so much for your time today and all the work that you do in the world. Appreciate you, man.
Then my pleasure.